Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason here, and thanks for stopping by the shop today. So in this video, we're finally going to get back to the Project YJ. It's been a crazy couple weeks. I had a wedding anniversary. I also took a vacation trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Saw a bunch of cool stuff down there. There's a cool resort down there called Anakeesta. Went and checked it out. It's really sweet. So there's been a lot of stuff going on, not to mention the fact that I started a new job and I've been doing a lot of training out of town for that. So it's been rough to get out here to the garage. But today we're going to go back to it 100% full force. We're going to pull the engine out. We're going to go ahead and take a bunch of the parts off there. There's a lot of stuff as far as brackets and linkages that we're not going to need in the install period. And there's stuff that we just need to go ahead and pull off so the engine has a little bit of a cleaner profile to bolt to the transmission and get it set in. We're going to go over the transmission as well. We did change kind of the path on that a little bit to take a little bit more advantage of the diesel engine. And we're also going to talk about the transfer case today. Now, we do have a very special treat coming up for the transfer case. It's something I think a lot of you guys are going to like, and it's something that's going to bring a lot of value to the YJ and help us out with some of those crawling situations. We'll just put it that way. So make sure you stick around. We're going to get to it and get it done. Alright, what a pain that was. So we're going to go ahead and unbox our engine mounts and our adapter bracket here real quick and just take a look at them before we get over to the engine and start doing all that stuff. Let's go ahead and check it out and see what we got here. I got the engine mounts and the mounting brackets and all that stuff from Mercedes Diesel 4x4. They specialize in these conversions. So far they've been a great company to deal with. These are our engine mount brackets. Boy, those are big. A lot bigger than the picture would lead you to believe. That's awesome. Looks like high quality welds. Everything looks super good on the inside. They say you can either pocket or shelf mount these. Either way you want to go. We'll decide on that, when we get to it. Once again, here are our actual mounts themselves. Our rubber isolators. Designed to go like this right here. Once again, pocket or shelf mount. Either way, depending on what kind of height you need to get. We'll go ahead and look and see which way we're going to get most contact on the actual brackets to the frame and decide from there. They also supplied hardware, so that's pretty cool. We have the bolts for the mounts in the centers already in the old mounts on the Jeep, or on the engine, correction. So here's our other mounts. Awesome. All that stuff looks to be pretty good quality. So now we will go ahead and open up our adapter and just take a quick look at it. Now this is the adapter to mount the engine to the transmission. These mounts and adapters, the mounts are universal for the engine, but the adapters are engine specific, so make sure you know what you're getting. Know what your crankshaft or your diameter is for your okay. So here is our actual mounting plate right here. This is our adapter plate. It'll mount like this right here. That is a solid piece of steel right there. If you want to look, that's pretty substantial. Looks like really good machining practices. No burrs left over on any of the cuts. Looks to be laser cut steel. Good quality. They did go ahead and clean everything up when they were done, so that's nice. It's awesome. Here we have the actual adapter for to drill the flywheel with, to adapt the crankshaft over to the flywheel of the Jeep. And we went ahead and got the correct pilot bearing. So awesome. Also included is the hardware to mount the adapter here. So everything looks to be in really good order, really good nick. No problem. Sweet. So for your mounts, your adapter plate, your crankshaft adapter, pilot bushing, Mercedes diesel 4x4. They did me great. I'll put the link down in the description. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Alright guys, so here we are with our engine. Now this is an OM 617.952. There are several iterations of this OM 617 engine, but this is the one that we got. Now this is out of a 1985 300D. This engine was pulled by a Mercedes-Benz recycler, intended to go back into a 300D, so it's in really good shape. All the clamps are original Mercedes-Benz clamps throughout the whole engine. Nothing's been molested or torn apart. It's got the correct fuel return lines on it. It's got a Mercedes-Benz fuel filter. Everything looks like the engine was well maintained from the vehicle that it came in. Now they did certify this as a running engine, so that's a plus right off the bat. There are a few things that we're going to have to change. There's some stuff that we're going to get rid of. We're probably not going to keep air conditioning, so we can go ahead and pull this big air conditioning bracket off. Now we are going to retain the parts that we pull off, because I don't know if we're going to put air conditioning in the Jeep in the future or not. So we're going to try, but no guarantees on that. So we're going to pull a bunch of this stuff off. The motor mounts and stuff we're going to leave on, but we're going to pull the rubber mounts themselves off. We're going to pull the exhaust manifold off. We might even pull the turbo and stuff off. I don't know yet. It kind of depends on where we're at. Now this engine should swing pretty good how it is. It swung pretty good when I put it up on the engine stand, but there's a lot of stuff that I want to strip off just in the name of making it a little bit slimmer and a little bit better profile to get in. So we're going to go ahead and start tearing some of this stuff down. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and pull off the air cleaner and air assembly, and then pull off the air conditioning assembly, stuff like that. Just go ahead and get this thing stripped down. We're just going to go ahead and start pulling stuff off over here on the hot side of the engine. Called the hot side because, of course, the exhaust manifold. These engines, just in case you didn't know, they came with two different turbos. It either came with a Garrett turbo or a KKK turbo. This is a Garrett turbo. You can tell because the wastegate points off the front. The KKK turbo, which we have on the other engine, the wastegate actually comes off the side. So just a little bit of knowledge for you there. Here's the tag our recycler had on the engine, verifying stock number, engine assembly, and mileage when pulled. This engine has right 115,000 miles on it, so it should be in pretty good shape for us. I'm gonna go ahead, I got the air cleaner and stuff pulled off. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the air conditioning stuff off now, just to get it out of the way. And just in case you guys were wondering, you're pretty much guaranteed that this whole engine, it's going to be metric. So that's nice. Sometimes with Chrysler vehicles like the YJ here, you have metric and standard, all kinds of stuff mixed up. This, it's pretty much going to be metric all the way through. 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 15 millimeter, stuff like that. We're going to go ahead and pull this cruise control module off here. Just kind of get it out of the way as well. I don't know if we'll be using it or not. I'd really love to have the cruise control module on here, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. So we will see. And I do have a PDF version of a service manual for this that I've kind of flipped through. I've never torn apart one of these engines before, so I am by no means an expert, though I did work on small diesel engines for about 8 to 10 years. Still going to be its own animal here. One more right there. All right. Alright guys, so the next thing that we're going to take off is this transmission cooler line that runs all the way to the front. We're also going to pull off these oil filter housing lines. They snake down here under the motor mount and come across and hang off of the air conditioning compressor bracket. So we're going to go ahead and pull this compressor bracket as well, because we probably won't be using it for the actual oil filter housing. We will probably end up going ahead and using a relocation kit and some braided lines for this. That's once again an ancillary that's way off in the future. We might end up using these hoses, I don't know. But we're gonna go ahead and pull this stuff off for now. Go ahead and get it out of here, get this side of the engine cleaned up. We did go ahead and get the air conditioner lines off. They were right here. So we went ahead and got all those off. That also went to a small bracket here and a bolt there. So let's go ahead and now we will get the oil filter housing lines off. All right, so now we've got the oil cooler lines and transmission cooler line pulled off. We're going to go ahead and pull this bracket off right here for the air conditioning compressor, and then we're going to move over to the other side and pull the exhaust manifold off. So everything's going pretty good so far. Nothing's been stuck. The engine seems to be in really good shape. I've been checking everything out really good. So we're going to keep moving with it. Alright guys, so since we got the engine stripped down, we got a bunch of the stuff off of it, smoothed over the side here, it's time to talk transmission. It's the second important part of what we're doing right now. Now, this transmission right here, it's an AX15. Originally I intended on sticking with the automatic transmission, but in keeping things with this Jeep to the point where if it loses electrical power, it can keep going, I thought that it was a good idea to go ahead and go with the manual transmission. This also affords us the opportunity to take advantage of the power band of the diesel engine. Now this will enable us to stay in boost if we need to, or any number of things, but it should also help with raw fuel economy. Standard transmissions always do slightly better than automatics. Now the newer 8, 9, 10 speed automatics are getting better and better with fuel mileage. But for what we're doing, I went ahead and changed my mind from an automatic to the manual. It just makes more sense to me. This AX15 has had a mild refurb done to it. Wasn't done by me, I bought it. So we're gonna go ahead and install this. But it is the internal throwout bearing. A lot of people have had problems with internal throwout bearings. My Cherokee outside had an internal throwout bearing and I never had a problem with it the whole time I had it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I did buy a brand new clutch kit. It's a Luck clutch kit, and I bought a new internal throwout bearing for it. So we're going to go ahead and keep it internal. If we do have problems, then we can go ahead and switch it later on to the external throwout bearing. But I think we'll be fine with this. I don't think it's really going to be a big deal as long as it's set up properly. That being said, we also have a new transfer case down here for it. So let's go ahead and check that out. So here it is, guys. This is an NVG 241 OR rock-trac transfer case. It's got 4-to-1 low. In a lot of opinions, this is the pinnacle of Jeep transfer cases. This thing will bolt right up to our AX15 transmission. This is out of a 05 TJ Rubicon. It's in great shape. I did change the chain on it myself, which was why I got it. I got it because it had a busted chain, so I went ahead and rebuilt the whole thing. I've actually had it for a while and was planning on putting it in something else, but you know, plans change. So it's got a little bit of dust on it. It's been over there on the shelf. But I think this, coupled with the AX15 manual transmission and the turbo diesel engine, is going to give us one hell of a drivetrain for this Jeep. This is going to be one of those Jeeps that it's just going to do everything we want it to. With a 4-to-1 low range, the gearing and the axles, once we get that done, and some of the more changes that I'm going to be making here soon, this thing should do fantastic off-road. I paid right around I think $750 for this transfer case. I got it for a great deal. So this is going to be super for our Jeep. So that's it for today's episode. We introduced you to the transmission. Once again, we changed that from the automatic 3-speed to the 5-speed manual. We are going to throw this NVG 241 rock-trac on it, and we also got the engine started to strip down. I'm waiting on bell housing bolts. Those things have been ordered. I also got to get a transmission bracket. Since we're not reusing the automatic, the transmission bracket itself that bolts to the bottom of the AX15, we're going to have to get one of those. And then we're going to start throwing all this stuff together. In the instructions for the adapter kit, it talks about being able to just bolt the engine to the transmission in place. So that's my intention. I'm going to get the transmission in place. We will deal with the transfer case after all that is said and done. We're not going to do the transfer case to the back of the transmission yet, because we're probably going to have to modify the cross member for it. But once we get the engine set in with the transmission, we'll go ahead and tackle this. So in the next video, we will be bolting the engine to the transmission. The transmission will be the first thing we mount to the vehicle. We'll bolt the engine to that just to go ahead and place everything. That's the recommended placement, is having the transmission in place. And then of course bolting the engine to that. And then we'll deal with this bad boy. We will go ahead and get the transfer case mounted up, and then we will get our new drive shafts made. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Please comment, like, subscribe, stick around. We got more good stuff coming up. Keep up in the comments down below. The main reason that I actually switched to the AX15 is because you guys said it would probably be a better idea, and I listened. So make sure you hang around, and we'll go ahead and tackle some more of this stuff next time.